Hey guys, you're watching the Groove Zone's Convos here on the Groove Zone Network. I'm DJ D-Phoenix, coming to you live from Olympia, Washington. And we've got one of our special guests who's been on the show a few times already, and totally stoked to have him back with us, Conrad Askland of Cirque du Soleil. Hello.
Hey, great to be back with you.
Great to be back with you. I'll bet it's great to be back in the States a little bit, isn't it?
It is. So I just finished 7 months performing in Europe.
Was it 7 months?
Yeah, because I didn't come home on the breaks. So It was really nice to come home.
And then, so where's the next leg take you guys?
New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We'll be there for 4 months.
Wow. Have you been to either place?
No, I've never been there. So once I've been there, I realized I've been to every continent except Antarctica, which feels kind of cool.
Well, I don't think they're going to let you go there anyway.
To Antarctica?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's many gigs.
Well, now, and this is how many years have you been with Cirque?
Well, I started with Cirque in 2008. This is my third show with them.
Okay.
I've done other gigs with other companies in between those shows. But yeah, my third Cirque du Soleil show is the music director, Bandleader.
Okay, cool. And on top of that, you've got all this other stuff going on, because if I remember right, you were saying something about putting some new music out pretty soon. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I have music I was working on during the pandemic, and then Cirque called me to join for the tour. This was the end of 2021.
Okay.
So I dropped all those projects to focus on preparing, for their tour.
Right.
And so even now, on this 2-month break that I have here back home, I'm finishing up music and songs that I was working on back in 2021.
Very cool. Very cool. So now, when as far as the release goes, is it going to be something tangible? I mean, are you putting an album out, or is it going to be solely digital?
It will. I don't do physical albums anymore.
I kind of figured you didn't. I just was hoping that maybe you'd put one of those really cool ones out that's uncolored vinyl with the little goodies inside the package sleeve or the sleeve. But that's okay.
Yeah, part of the reason I don't is as a personal artist, unless I'm putting one of my musicals up on stage.
Oh, right.
Everything's done virtually. All the standalone songs are done virtually. I'm not doing shows. I'll create a show and put the show up, but I don't actually do shows that are just me.
Right.
That are advertised anyway. Some of the individual songs that I was working on, those will come out on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
As videos. And then I have this gigantic project of over 500 songs that I started back in 2020. I'm hoping to finish those over these 2 months here, but a lot of those will be released under pseudonyms that I use.
And all of this on top of touring with Cirque du Soleil. Now,
well, that's why they're not finished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in an average week's time, how many shows do you guys do in a week on average?
The least, on average, 8.
Really?
Yeah. But
wow.
Every once in a while we'll do a light week of 5 shows, and then every once in a while we'll do 10 shows. But the average is about 8. Barcelona was some of the biggest audiences, and we were doing sometimes triple shows with 9,000 people per show. So we were performing for over 25,000 people in a day.
Wow.
That was the largest arena.
Wow. Okay, so before we run out of time, I know we're not getting close yet, but before we run out of time, I've got to ask, how was this last leg of the tour? I mean, you got a chance to go and see places that you hadn't seen before.
And some places I had seen before. It was amazing.
Right.
It was amazing. But
on one of my breaks, I'm sorry, you reconnected with family while you were back there, didn't you?
My European family. So I'm Norwegian American. My family in Norway. That was our second to last city. I was able to meet with them, and they all came out to see the show. And
that is awesome.
I sang a song with my cousin in Norwegian, and it was fun. I was on the Cirque du Soleil show Varekai back in 2017, and we did a Europe tour, but it was more Eastern Europe.
Okay.
This European tour with Crystal was more Western Europe.
Okay.
So basically between the two, I've performed in almost all the European countries now.
Right.
On the tour break, I was able to go to Paris and go to Notre Dame Cathedral. It's under construction now, so you can't go inside. But the first time I performed there was when I was 11 years old with the Northwest Boy Choir. We did a European tour.
Yep.
And so to go back there, now being in my 50s with Cirque du Soleil was kind of surreal.
I'll bet.
Yeah. But of course, one of the things wonderful about being in Europe as an American, especially on the West Coast, to us, an old building, if a building is 130 years old, we're like, oh my God, cover it in plastic. And here, I was seeing Roman ruins, that were over 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't even know where to put them. They have them like in storage. It's so common. But the old architecture, if a cathedral was 100 years old, that's not a real cathedral.
No.
The real cathedrals are 600, 700, 800 years old.
Right.
That was very exciting, particularly for photography.
Speaking of which, oh my gosh, you got some amazing, amazing shots while you guys were out. Oh my Lord. And to be able to follow that on Facebook was just awesome. It's like every once in a while I'd see one of your pictures come up, and I always put myself in your shoes whenever I'd see one of those, because I'm like, he's having such a great time.
When I was in Lisbon, I didn't know these existed. I booked a photography tour where a professional photographer took me around the town with my little, I was using a little Sony, like $1,000 video camera.
Okay.
And like gave me tips on doing better photography. And I was so frustrated with my camera that then the next week we went to Barcelona. I bought the new Sony camera with a super cool lens. And then I kept booking these photography sessions with these professional photographers.
Cool.
So now I have 6 lenses. I've just gone crazy. 6 of like the best I could get, because the photography for me is a great way to disengage from the pressure of the show, because it's Cirque du Soleil, so it's very high pressure.
I'll bet.
And it slows me down to walk around the towns, and then I'm noticing angles, and doing some street photography is always fun too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like I said, you got some amazing, amazing shots.
A lot of those photos I've rolled out on my website at ConradAskland.com if people are interested.
Well, yeah, and they should be interested, because you got yourself an incredible thing going on. A lot of pies that you've got your fingers in, and I don't know if all 10 of them are submerged at this point, but if not, they're getting close. Wow. Okay, so you guys leave in June. Oh, guess what's happening in September? And I think I invited you.
Oh, the Skoochies reunion.
Can you believe it? And to know that it's been that long, it's like, oh my gosh, if there isn't already a run on Fluvogs, there's going to be really soon.
That's the last thing Skoochies needs, is a bunch of old farts dancing to 80s music. Like everything about it is just wrong. We should just leave the memories in the nice little bubble where they belong.
And if we're saying that now, and I'm sure that probably the morning after, we're definitely going to be saying that, like, oh, did you check that out? It's like... But and all I can say is God bless all of us that have actually made it, for 40 years, especially on top of, living like rock stars back then.
Well, I remember at the time, sometimes it seemed like people were dropping like flies. Not everyone made it out of that scene. So,
what are some of the things that you want to do in your off time when you're down in Australia and New Zealand besides photography?
I'm looking forward to, in New Zealand, everyone says, oh, that's where they filmed Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I haven't looked into scheduling stuff yet, but I'm interested to see if some of those locations are easy to get to. Yeah, basically not trying to plan too much, because, I get all these ideas to create music and videos, and I always have to finish them. It's what I've done my whole life, but I start too many, and then I end up with all these odds, bits and ends. Like during the pandemic now, I have couple dozen projects that just need to be, finished up. And
Right.
it's aggravating because until I get them done, they're all kind of clanking around here. But I have been hitting social media harder in the last year than I have in the past.
Which is nice.
So I'm kind of learning what works and what doesn't work. One of the problems with me as an artist is I'm in so many different genres that it's not like, oh, check me out, speed death metal, or, it might be comedy and then Mozart in Latin and then, sports music. And
Exactly. Yeah.
but a couple things people might enjoy. So my music is used on all these platforms. Right. So TikTok, I didn't know anything about TikTok, but I got a really sizable check from them back in August. And I was like,
get out.
I knew that my music was being used because my distributor had asked for my approval, earlier in the year. But I didn't know anything about it. So I opened up a TikTok channel, and it's a lot of really quirky stuff is on my TikTok channel. And there's I have 10,000 followers. I'm all excited about that.
Wow.
And then Instagram, I'm using sometimes for the short videos, but for photography stills. My personal Facebook page, I don't post on too much because it's my friends. And then YouTube, I've done some shorts before, but during this European tour, I did a lot of shorts. I have over 40 shorts just of street musicians.
Wow.
So if people are interested in street musicians, check out my YouTube channel.
YouTube. Okay.
If you want to see the weird stuff, like my dog singing along with me practicing accordion, that's on TikTok. And
I'll be checking that out this afternoon.
That was some of the first stuff I did. Oh, and then I see this lady on TikTok who plays guitar.
Okay.
And then her little dog, little Chowini, sings along, and she has millions of followers. And I was like, okay, so I have the right idea, but she did it better.
What's your word to everybody watching today?
Empathy. Wow. My life improves every time I remember more and more to have empathy for other people. It goes so far.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think, and thank you for that. I think one of the things though is when you're in the moment is to remember that though. It's I don't know how many times there've been where, there'll be a situation and it's not that I don't care. I do. It's just that it's not until sometimes a little bit later that I'm like, oh, you've dealt with something so similar. It's like, you could have whatever.
We don't see all the puzzle pieces in the moment, but if we can be empathetic through whatever the exchange is, usually on the other side, we're like, oh, that's what was happening.
Right.
And I've never regretted being empathetic.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And empathy is a great trait. It really is. It's really important. Well, you know what, guys? I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. I didn't have enough time at all with this guy. Totally enjoy hanging with him. So you've been watching Konvos with DJ D-Phoenix and my special guest, Conrad Askland of Cirque du Soleil. I'm currently on the road. Well, not currently, but he is with Cirque du Soleil's Crystal. When it comes to your town, go check it out.